So I wasn't able to record the Ubisoft and Square Enix press conferences live. There wasn't a whole lot during them that really would have given me great reactions for like live reaction. But there was a couple titles that I wanted to talk about in their own videos. So right now we have the Watch Dogs Legion trailer playing and the gameplay demo. And Watch Dogs Legion was definitely the most exciting thing out of the Ubisoft press conference, in my opinion. Uh, this is the first time that I've ever actually been excited for Watch Dogs, and ever since the first one got announced all weird with the controversy on the graphical downgrade and everything, and 2 just never looked that special to me. But this game actually does look pretty interesting. Like the futuristic London setting that they have going, I think it's way more interesting than the like near future settings that both the first and second game seemingly had. I definitely think that the vibe of this city is really cool. And for the most part, London doesn't really get picked too frequently, I feel, as a setting for a video game. At least, maybe like there's games where you go to London. There's probably like Assassin's Creed that went to London and everything. But this sort of setting is pretty unique and cool, and I like it a lot. Obviously, the big draw to this game is the uh, gimmick mechanic of playing as anybody, any NPC that you come across. And based on what they showed in this demo, it's definitely interesting and exciting. Uh, a lot of people that I've been watching have been talking about how they're not sure how they can completely deliver on this mechanic, but based on what they show, I think it's really cool. I think they probably have a set number of like classes that most NPCs fall into, whether or not that's like 5 or like maybe 10, 15 different types of people, and then you just keep recruiting like different classes who have different loadouts and different textures and skins and everything. Maybe that's what they're gonna go for, but it's definitely an interesting concept. Uh, and I think it already makes this game stand out as opposed to a lot of other games. Right here, as you can see, the driving. I think the driving looks a little stiff, but I imagine that's just kind of Watch Dogs. I don't think the driving's ever been like a huge thing. It's always been more about like the hacking and the movement on foot. So I don't. Yeah, it doesn't seem like they improved much with the driving. But coming up here, where this one character gets killed here, I also think a nice choice that they're going with is having permadeath. It reinforces this gameplay mechanic that they have of playing as multiple people, and I think having permadeath as a like a flat out thing from the beginning, it will really force you to think strategically while you're playing. If you really like a specific character, then maybe you don't put them in for doing like a really high risk mission, because then you might run the risk of killing and losing that person forever, and you gotta work with who you have recruited. It'll be interesting to see if there's like requirements on certain parts of the story to have a certain amount of people, because I'm wondering if you get like one person at the beginning and you just, you know, play as that one person, if you could go through the entire game. I think a big theme that they're talking about is building up a resistance, so I don't really see that as being the thing. I think there's probably going to be parts in the story where you're going to be locked out until you recruit a certain amount of people, but it's an interesting thing to think about. And obviously, Helen was a big highlight of this, and I think this reflects somewhat of a shift in tone. Again, I haven't played the other two Watch Dogs, but from an outsider looking in, the first game just seemed very dour and serious. I'm sure that it had its moments of lightheartedness or humor. The second one was more vibrant, I realize, but I don't know tonally if that was reflected in like more humor or something. This seems to be a very big departure. You have some serious moments about this resistance, but also the game isn't afraid to take itself to like not too seriously. The game isn't afraid to joke around with its world and its characters. So I think that definitely is a highlight for a lot of people from this demo, is playing as Helen, and how it actually changes the gameplay quite a bit. And I think that's probably the most interesting aspect of the game as a whole is the unexpected possibilities you might get from being able to play as anybody. And like the gunplay and everything looks fine. It looks serviceable. It looks about as good as Watch Dogs has ever had. And the hacking is shown off here with hacking people's phones and hacking a car and having it drive forward. But just even in this moment here, like the colors, the lighting, the world design, I think that's definitely the highlight. And I think if this is just a small vertical slice of what we can expect with the entire game, I think that Watch Dogs 3 is definitely going to be something that's on a lot of people's lists. And I will say, I just have to give props to Ubisoft because this E3 has definitely felt light on game demos, at least like on stage game demos. I'm sure you can go around and find different impressions on people that have watched stuff and have gotten hands on time at the show floor. But this was one of the biggest gameplay blowouts that we got in like any of the press conferences, and it stands out. So I have to commend them on doing an announcement. It did get leaked earlier, but doing an announcement and a big gameplay blowout, and then releasing the release date for the game, announcing the release date. So I just think that they handled this demo and reveal really well, and they deserve some praise for that. So yeah, I don't have a whole lot more to add on Watch Dogs 3. I just had some quick thoughts that I wanted to talk about because it was one of the best showings that Ubisoft had. Ghost Recon Breakpoint, not super interested in. Haven't played like any of the Ghost Recon games. Rainbow Six Quarantine, eh. I've played a little bit of Siege, but Quarantine is going for the whole co-op route, and it seems, at least from what they showed, that it's sort of zombies. I'm a little burnt out on zombies, so it doesn't really do a whole lot for me. Just Dance, it's pretty funny that it's coming to the Wii, but I don't play those games. Uh, Gods and Monsters, again, kind of cool, but they didn't show a whole lot. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, Mythic Quest from Rob McElhenney, that was interesting because I'm a big fan of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, so I might try to watch that at some point, but that's not necessarily like a game announcement. But yeah, overall, Watch Dogs 3 was definitely the biggest thing from the Ubisoft press conference, in my opinion, and I just wanted to talk about it a bit here. So check out the channel for some more videos on all sorts of E3 coverage, and yeah, see you in the next one.